We are here today to make some apple cider. My name is Jamie Cawthon and I'm here with Matt Bollinger. He is our Director of IT and Digital Marketing. And we've been at Stark Brothers just overloaded with apples. We've got a ton of them in our orchard and wanted to do something with them. And Matt, you've been making some apple cider at home?
Yes, so we've got 3 or 4 apple trees at our house, and every year we get a ton of apples. And we like to eat them fresh, and we like to bake with them, but at the end we still end up with a ton, and we can press them into apple cider. So we thought we'd do that with some of our surplus here at Stark Brothers this fall.
Yeah, so I stole them out from behind the computers to show us the way. So one thing that we did find, we actually experimented with a couple different varieties. A few weeks back, we did one with all Granny Smith and a Golden Delicious strain. And today we found some Golden Sheen apples and another strain of the Red Delicious, and then also a hybrid apple, which is a Jonathan.
Strain of Jonathan, yep.
Yeah, so we've got several different kinds and you can play around with them. We're actually gonna link in the video a list of a lot of apples that are great for cider. And then also we have a collection of cider apples here at Stark Brothers. So you'll be able to see what different ones you can use, but the most important thing to know is that you want to balance tart and sweet. So you want 2 different flavor profiles going into your cider to make it delicious. Yeah. Well, Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about the equipment to use?
Yeah, so we have, this is a tabletop press meant for just somebody with a small orchard in their backyard. This isn't going to be producing a ton of cider, but this is a tabletop press. You can get this online. Maybe around $100 or so at some of the different retailers. So this will press the cider and the apples, and then before that though, you need to chop the apples up and you'll grind them. They call it a pumice, but it's basically just mashed apples. And so if you look here on this thing, there's some teeth on it, and we'll throw them into the hopper, we'll grind them up, then we'll put that mashed into the press and smush them down, and then the cider will start to flow. And
cider is here. So to go through the apple crusher, it's actually best to quarter your apples, and we've actually already cleaned these, we washed them, they're ready to go. But as with all homegrown apples, you know, they come with their spots and their little imperfections, and if you have anything that's like, that is, you know, rotten or starting to rot, you want to take that out of your cider mix. You kind of want to treat it like anything that you wouldn't eat, you shouldn't put in your cider. So that's kind of the attitude. And then you just take your apples and you quarter them, removing any bad spots, and then into the press they go.
We'll move the press out of the way, and we can get the grinder set up. Generally 1 or 2. This grinder is not like an industrial one, it's also a tabletop one. And some apples are a little softer and you can throw a lot in there, some of them a little bit more dense. These ones here, you know, maybe 1 apple at a time is pretty easy. And if you were to throw a couple of apples worth, it's really hard. Yep. So we are about probably halfway through with this batch, and we want to just kind of take a peek up and see how things are going. You can see it's got a nice fine mash. Okay, Jamie, it looks like we're just about full here on this bucket, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the grinder off, and we'll dump the pumice into the press and see how full that makes the press, and decide if we need to grind up any more from there. So let's set this off to the side. Let's move this out of the way. We've got the press here. So a couple things to note. We have a nylon mesh bag in here, and this will keep all of the seeds and the skin and everything from being pressed out and running into the cider. This bag came with the press here. Other people use all different materials. Some people don't use any, but we found this works pretty well. So there's a hole in the bottom. You slide it over, and then kind of It won't stay, but it'll help us when we're dumping it in. So we're gonna put the apples in. Try to not make a mess. So yep, now we've got our apples. Let's get that centered. And then we want to bring the mesh up over the top. And then the press has some additional pieces here. This is the wooden section that will actually be pressing the apples down. And then we'll use a couple of blocks, and we'll start out with just a few blocks, and we'll just keep adding blocks as the press goes down. This is just a little nylon washer for reduced friction. Alright, and then we have a crank arm, and we will start cranking this down. So it's just a big, long, giant threaded screw, basically. One of the things I learned from John Logan, who's one of the descendants of James Stark, our company founder, he has a side business where he makes hard cider, and he makes traditional cider as well. But I was making cider with him this summer at one of the conferences we were at, and he was explaining how you don't want to crank down too fast and just keep it going. You want to put some pressure on it, let it run, let it do its thing, and then come back every couple minutes and crank down some more, and that way you'll get more cider if it has more time to just release its juices versus just smashing the heck out of it. So that's what we'll do.
Makes sense.
So this could take anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes to get down. This size probably closer to 15 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes. Really depends on how impatient you are. I sometimes get going and forget his advice to kind of let it do its thing. All right, so we've reached the end of the height of our blocks here, and our lever here is not going to be able to go much further. So what we basically want to do now, Jamie, is back the pressure off, make sure we don't spill the juice, and we're going to add some more blocks.
Okay.
So let's get it spinning freely. Lever off, and then we can just...
And this is where you play cider Jenga?
Yeah, cider Jenga for sure. Okay. Well.
Make you work for it.
Okay. So I'm going to put 2.
And those came with your apple press, the blocks?
Yeah, the blocks typically come with the press. A couple of these I made out of some scrap 2x4s at home just to make sure we had plenty of blocks. Okay, so now we're back to the top, and we will put the pressure back down.
And the idea is you just kind of keep going until you're not getting juice anymore.
Right.
Or until you get to the bottom of all your blocks.
You can hear it flowing again.
See how difficult it actually is. Okay. Wait, how do you get leverage? I don't know. There we go.
Yeah, I just put in my left arm kind of around it.
Oh, and like hold it?
Yeah, just watch your shirt because you may...
This is no joke.
Yeah.
So we finished our apple cider, and we just took it from our bowl that we were collecting the juice from and poured it into our pitcher. Didn't have to do anything else. It's ready to go. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pour us some. It can be enjoyed like this. It can also be warmed up. You can add cinnamon sticks and cloves, and it tastes really good warmed up. But we're gonna have it fresh.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I gotta say, that's a good batch.
That's pretty good.
This is better than the last batch.
Yeah, I think so too.
This is really good.
I like it.
Wow, so this was Golden Sheen, which were these yellow type apples.
Yep, Golden Sheen, and then we had a
It was mostly the hybrid, which that one I think is one of the Shellac Spur, which is a type of Red Delicious.
And then the hybrid is this little Jonathan strain of an apple.
Jonathan.
So these are the varieties we used in our cider, and we'd love to hear from you. If you make apple cider, what varieties do you love to use? And if you've never made it before, we'd love to hear how it goes if you try it. And if you use a different kind of press.
What type of setup do you use? Do you use a small benchtop, tabletop press like this and an inexpensive grinder, or do you have an heirloom that maybe your grandpa gave you, or just something completely different?
Yeah, so let us know what you're using, and we'll look forward to chatting with you soon. Thanks.